What's up, everybody? Yeah, welcome to another episode of Rocket Live. I am your host, Chris Vaglio, and I am here with another amazing guest to talk to, an interview, and hopefully you guys will be able to ask all your questions and we will get them answered. Because today I have the one and only Mr. Julbert Abraham waiting to come on to the show, and he will be here to talk about everything to do with LinkedIn advertising, and also answer any questions that you may have. But before we get into this, I do want to thank really quick our show sponsor, which is KerryZarb.com. And Kerry Zarb is actually, she's a really good friend of mine, and she is a podcast marketing expert. That is right. So if you are a podcaster and you are looking to grow your audience, or you feel like you have your audience is plateaued and you're just looking for new ways to really get your podcast out there and help it to continue to grow, or like I said, if you're just starting out, then Kerry Zarb is the person you want to be talking to. She is an experienced podcast marketing coach and can help you grow your business. So if you head over to kerryzarb.com/simple right now, you'll be able to get access to her free resources. So head over to kerryzarb.com/simple and you'll be able to get access to all her resources. Over there, you'll find the 7 days of simple podcast marketing. You'll find your podcast marketing planner and the ultimate podcast and marketing planner. So you definitely want to take advantage of that. And she's giving some of the stuff away. Like I said, you can take the 7 days of simple podcast marketing for free right now. So head over to kerryzarb.com/simple and show some love and support to our amazing sponsors. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to connect with me or help support this show, you can head over to buymeacoffee.com/CVaglio. That's right. So, hey, we got to pay some bills around here. And, you wish all this was for free, but, it takes a little bit to run the show. So if you head over to buymeacoffee.com/CVaglio, you can feel free to show your love and support over there. Of course, all these links are in the show notes or the captions or wherever you're watching us live right now, or wherever you're listening to the podcast. You have access to all the notes, including all of the links that are associated with my guest, who I'm bringing on right now. What is up? Here he is, the man of the hour, Mr. Julbert Abraham, CEO of AGM, Abraham Global. What is up, my friend? Welcome.
I
So glad to have
am
you on.
fantastic. Thank you for having me, Chris. What's going on?
Oh man, I am so happy to have you on here. It has been so long
Yeah.
since we've been talking about getting you on the show, and had a few little bouts with being sick, losing my voice a bit, but here we are. We finally made it. I'm so glad. So listen, Gilbert and I have been friends for quite some time,
Yes.
been colleagues, as I
Yeah.
said, friends, mentors to one another, and Gilbert, when it comes to LinkedIn, like Gilbert is the man. He is the LinkedIn guy. Like that's literally like what you've gone by for years is the LinkedIn guy. And I'll tell you, Gilbert and LinkedIn are very synonymous. But in all seriousness, he has spent a lot of time working on LinkedIn, keeping track of everything that's been happening, all the updates, all the best use cases, everything. And especially when it comes to the LinkedIn advertising platform, which, listen, as we all know, isn't cheap to
Mm-hmm.
do, but when you have a solid strategy
Yeah.
behind it and good focus, those dollars go a long way. And that's everything that I want to hear you talk about, because you're a master on
Absolutely.
this stuff. So
Hey,
so
thanks for
Gilbert,
having me.
yeah, dude, absolutely. I'm glad to have you here. So let's dive into it. So let's talk a little bit about real quick,
Mm-hmm.
just for those of you, like, I've got the pleasure of knowing you, but for anybody who's new to you and what you do, why don't you give everybody a little bit of background about Gilbert and AGM?
Absolutely. So thanks again for having me. I'm excited to be on the show finally. Woo!
Woo!
All right. So I'll start a little bit. About 22 years ago, going on 23 years, I came from Haiti, born and raised there. I flew to the States and started a life here. I was a young kid, teenager, went to school here, went to high school, went to college. Started my first company at 18. My friends and I ran a business throughout college. So we weren't the, common broke college students. We found a way to make money and also meet girls.
Hey,
that, that, that was the plan back then.
that's not a bad
uh,
plan.
yeah, so we did that for 4 years, graduated, worked in corporate America, got laid off from work about 10 years ago, 10, 11 years ago,
Mhm.
and started my consulting business in my apartment. And I use LinkedIn to get my first couple clients that allowed me to pay my bills. So LinkedIn has that emotional attachment with me
Right.
because it was a tool that helped me when I needed it the most.
Mhm.
So I'm always grateful for that. And in 2013, I launched AGM, the company I have today. We've been fortunate to work with now close to 700 clients in every facet of LinkedIn, from training teams to running LinkedIn organic campaign to now running LinkedIn ads. So I'm excited to share all the nuggets, answer any questions, and really help any entrepreneurs that's listening to this on how they can maximize this tool for their business.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And so, and listen, you've been a great for me in my career as in all my careers and as I continually grow and develop. I mean, you're definitely somebody I turn to and I respect because I know that if I get information from you in terms of LinkedIn best practices and best uses and all those things, I know I'm getting really solid information because I mean, listen, let's face it, right? There's a lot of so-called experts out there, and this isn't a cut on anybody, but I mean, there are
Mhm.
just some people out there who um are say they're experts in a platform and you want to believe it and you'll follow what they tell you to do and it's you start to find out maybe it's not so effective. And so
Mm.
but I think what I want to do with you is that you have a good wealth of information here. And so I'd like to start really there's a bunch of places we can talk about from bios to headlines and all that, but I think a lot of
Yeah,
that's been covered a lot and it's fine and it's out there. What I really want to let your expertise shine and share with the people watching, listening to this is the LinkedIn advertising part, because I feel like that, especially in the world of if you're a business owner, if you're an
yeah,
entrepreneur, if you're in sales, business development, whatever you want to call it. I really feel like that this is a tool that, once again, I mean, we were talking about it. Like, yeah, it's not the same in the sense of dollars wise as like doing a PPC campaign or something like that, because this is definitely much more targeted and strategic. But you've got a lot of experience there. So let's talk a little bit about LinkedIn ads and sort of,
absolutely.
from the onset, how does it really work?
Oh, very simple. So all LinkedIn ad is being able to place a piece of content. It could be an image, it could be a video, it could be some type of added value that you're giving away,
Hmm.
right? On LinkedIn, and you're paying for traffic. So you're paying LinkedIn a certain amount of dollars to show that piece of document or that piece of content to a specific group of people. So let's take an example.
Right.
If you are, for example, a wealth manager or financial advisor, and you may have a group of people that you want to work with, maybe they're 55 and older or about to retire, and you said, hey, I have this retirement guide that I want to be able to share with people that are 55 and older,
Hmm.
that maybe are VP or director at specific companies. And I want only them to see this, and I want to be able to pay LinkedIn to do it. You can do that. So
Right.
it allows you to be as targeted as you want in terms of who you're looking to do business with, what's the job title, what kind of company you work in, or even figure out the companies that you want to target. You can literally target Google, Amazon, Facebook, and so forth, and target specific people at those companies to be the only one that see your ad campaign. So that's the way
Yeah.
I would say you spend. Really easy to start is, if you can focus on that. Hey, I have a document or piece of content and I want to share it to a specific audience, and I want to pay LinkedIn to only show that to that audience. You can automatically run LinkedIn ads that way.
You see, and I think that's an interesting thing that you're saying there too about how to run specific ads like that, because I think that, and this is just kind of, I think what I've seen over time is that I think when people are thinking of like running LinkedIn ads, I think they're thinking a little bit more like it's the ad of like, hey, like come visit our website, or like contact me for these things. And what you're saying is a little bit different. Like you're putting a bit of a different spin on it of saying it's not so much about like, hey, contact me or visit my website. It's like, hey, I would like for you to see this piece of content or have this experience and sign up for it that way. And so I guess what you're saying is that's something that you've seen more as being like a best practice as opposed to sort of like sending out
So
a video ad or something like that. Or like,
So it's a good question here, because there are a lot of different type of ads on LinkedIn, right?
right.
You can do an ad where it's just you show a video. It's called awareness ad,
Hmm.
and people that watch the video, they watch 25%, 30%, and so forth, are now being aware of what you have to offer. Then there is another type of ad where it's called lead generation ad. These are made specifically to generate leads. If you're an entrepreneur or you have a sales team and you're like, hey, I want leads from LinkedIn, that's exactly what I'm talking about, right?
Hmm.
It's that specific ad where you can have it on LinkedIn, you're giving something away, maybe a case study or a guide of some form, that anybody that want this, all they have to do is give you their name, their email, their phone number, and they'll be able to download that piece of document. And now you have their information and you can follow up with them. Say, hey, you mentioned that you wanted this piece of document. Now you have it. Would you like to attend our next webinar? Would you
Hmm.
like to set up a time to speak to one of our team members? Now, if you really want to take it to a new level, you can run what I call a holistic campaign. You
Right.
start with the video, right? That video ad create awareness, and you create a retargeting audience for that video. What that means is anybody that watched, let's say 25%, 50%, 75% of that video will now start seeing this guide that you offer. So you warm
Interesting.
up the audience with the awareness ad. Then after that, you say, hey, I noticed you watched our video. Seems like you like what we're talking about. Would you like to get this guide around XYZ?
Hmm.
And now you put these people in a funnel, right? It's literally an advertising funnel where you start with awareness. Then now they're considering, okay, let's see what this guide about. Then you can have a follow-up ad after that. Anybody that opened up that form, maybe they didn't download that document. They might be getting an email ad. So it's a
Right.
message on LinkedIn said, I noticed that you opened up the form but didn't get the guide. Would you like to set up some time to speak to someone first? So you could build this whole campaign on LinkedIn, and a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners are not aware that's possible.
Yeah, see, I like the way you laid that out because I think that that is a really key thing. And honestly, when you explain that, like I know a bit about it, but even like hearing you talk about it again, makes me think like, oh yeah, like I forgot. Like you actually forget about the different things that you can do because you feel like, well, no, it can only work this way, it can only work that way. But see, the way you're putting it is, it does make a lot of sense because you can actually take advantage of the different types of ads to then create
Mm-hmm.
the awareness, that top of funnel, get them into the marketing, your marketing ecosystem,
Yeah.
and eventually conversion. And I think that's a really cool thing to do. And so one of the things you were talking about at the top, which I wanted to come back to, which is
Mm-hmm.
the the target, the focus.
Yeah.
And I think that's huge because that I don't want to gloss over that because when we talk about LinkedIn, the thing that I feel like separates it from most other, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
social
Platforms,
media
different
platform,
platforms.
is the fact that because it's on the professional side and you have these titles and people are putting their titles up, is that it really begins to let you really focus in on your audience, your niche audience, or
Mm-hmm.
whoever your target market is. So if your target market is marketing directors, or
Yeah.
if it's
VP of
whatever,
sales, or
right, or
yeah,
CFO, or
HRs. Yeah.
right, exactly, like you have the ability to do that. And I think that that is why when we talk about the value and the money spent, you're paying for that kind of level of access to get in front of those eyeballs. And I know not everybody
Absolutely.
uses LinkedIn, but I feel like it's really feel like ever since, like, we went on lockdown, people really started getting
Yeah,
like,
yeah, it blew
people that are
up.
like, I haven't been on LinkedIn in 8 years are like now on LinkedIn again. Like, oh my gosh, like LinkedIn is cool. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I've been on it for like the last 15 years. Like,
I know what you mean. When it comes to that space, right? A lot of people don't realize, yeah, you can target by job title, but you
yeah.
can also target by companies. Now, one piece that a lot of people don't
Mhm.
realize as well is you can target by groups, right? Imagine you have different groups on LinkedIn, a group of attorneys, or you could target specific groups on LinkedIn and run ads. And you can even go a step further if you're targeting people that are changing career changers. So you could target by skill set, meaning different specific keywords, by functionality, by seniority, by company size, company revenue,
Right.
right? So you have all these different targeting aspect. That's what makes LinkedIn special. Is sometimes the CEO of a Fortune 500 company may not put on their Facebook that they're CEO of a Fortune 500 company because it's a private Facebook for just family and friends.
Yeah.
While on LinkedIn, they have that connected to their company page.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing too is we're just, you just said another great thing is that the company page, right?
Yes.
How many people do you know do not have a company page set up for their company on LinkedIn? And I think a lot of people are like, who cares about the company page?
Oh,
But
it's necessary.
but the company page is really necessary, right? Talk about
Yeah.
why the company page is necessary. I want
Oh,
people to hear this.
for so many reasons, guys. Because one, you have the personal profile, you can build that personal brand, right? Chris talked heavily about that. But the company page, you can build that company brand. Now, the beauty about this, one, you're building a brand.
Mhm.
Two, you can run ads with the company page so that you can generate leads. Three, if you're looking to scale and build a team, think of the company page as your marketing hub because
Right.
that can help recruit the right talent. When they're seeing the content on the company page, help recruit the right people to your organization. So it has several different functionality. And if you don't have one, I recommend you get one set up. It's super easy to do. And that helps with credibility as well, because now you have a company page, you have the company page logo. Somebody go to your profile, maybe they Google you, they end up on your LinkedIn profile. And now they're able to see your profile with the logo to the company page. That makes it exciting because they're like, okay, that helps raising the credibility factor and the trust factor right away.
Yeah, and so I love everything you just said because I think it's so important, and you have to take this stuff seriously if you're looking to really actively like develop business on
Hmm.
LinkedIn and use this as a lead generator for yourself. Now, and I say that because a lot of people are doing that. Like, I think you have to. I mean, and you're a solopreneur. Like, I'm a solopreneur. Like, that's it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah,
Chris
yeah.
Vaglio, Rocket Growth Agency. I'm a solopreneur, but yet I have all these things set up because of everything that you just discussed. Because it is big to have it. And if you're looking to target a certain audience, a certain demographic, a certain industry,
Yeah.
all these things are really key because people will also too want to do their due diligence on you
Hmm.
before they do business with you,
Yeah.
especially if you're hitting them cold,
Yeah, no like trust, right?
Yeah,
So they're gonna research you, plain and simple. If you asking, hey, I want to do business with you, it's X amount of dollars. I can tell you how many times people have researched me, and then they'll come back. Oh, I researched you, I listened to your podcast, I watched your YouTube videos, I went to your company page. They've done deep research before they agree to have a meeting and actually sign the deal.
right.
So it's all part of the process to create that trust and credibility that you need that can help you really skyrocket your business.
Now, let's talk about this really quick.
Hmm.
I want to talk about, I know everybody's going to roll their eyes, and I know you're going to have some great best practices on this,
Let me hear
but
it.
let's talk about those DMs
Oh
that
man,
we
the
all get. Let's talk
DMs.
about it's basically cold calling. But
Yeah.
let's talk about that because while I'm not 100% a fan of it or the way that I've seen it, there is a right way to do it. I feel.
100%.
So when I say I'm not a fan of like shitty DMs. Like I'm just gonna say it. But there is a way to do it, and I know you know how to do it. And so I would love for you to share with everybody like what your advice is on the best practice if you're gonna do basically the cold calling, the DM on LinkedIn.
Yes. DM on LinkedIn is a way to communicate with people, right? Some of us take advantage of it and do it wrong. Some of us do it right. So my suggestion is first look at who you're going after. Is it going to be a referral partner or a potential client? That's important because the messaging will be very different. If it's a referral partner,
Mhm.
you want to approach them in a collaborative fashion. If it's a potential client, you want to approach them where you are a resource to them, right? Because if at the end of the day, that person is really what's in it for them. So if your message is not structured where it's like, okay, what's in it for them, then they're like, I don't know about this guy, not interested, and they're gonna pass on. So you really got to position it what's in it for them so that they may want to have a conversation with you. So I'll give you an example. Let's say I'm going to give you a partner example and I'm going to give you a potential client example.
Great.
So if you are going after a partner, for example, let's say I'm going after marketing agencies, right? Because I could partner with them and work with them. First, I'll look at the profiles. I'll build out a list of specific people I want to talk to, figure out what we have in common, right? Companies, groups, people that we're connected with. What can I use in the message when I'm reaching out? And let's say they're both part of the ad club, right? I can say, hey, John, notice that we're both part of NG Ad Club. Love what you guys are doing at XYZ agency. Looks like you guys focus on SEO. I believe there may be opportunity for us to collaborate. Would love to share a few ideas. Let me know if you're open.
Right.
All right. If I'm going after a potential client, let's say I'm going after manufacturing companies, right? First thing that I'll do is I'll look at their company page and then I'll see what kind of posts that they're put out and if they're running advertising on LinkedIn. And if I notice they're not running ads on LinkedIn, I'm like, oh, wow, this company should be running ads on LinkedIn. My approach would be more like, hey, John, and I'll find out who is the marketing director, marketing manager. So I'm not only going after one person, I'm going after 2 or 3 people within the organization. Before I even reach out to them, before that hey John message, I'm gonna see who's connecting or with anybody that I know, see if maybe I can get some introduction. If I don't have any of that, who's posting? Maybe I can comment on their post first so they can see my name a few times, right? So let's say they'll see that. Then my next thing is we're like, hey John, love what you guys are doing at XYZ manufacturing company. I have an idea that might be a benefit to you. Have you ever thought about running ads to get more sample requests for your XYZ products? So I'm approaching them by being a resource and I'm also asking a question, right? And then they'll tell me. Some people will say, we've run LinkedIn ads, didn't work. Oh, that's something we never thought about. Let's have a conversation. Great. Here's a link to my calendar. Let's set up some time to chat, right? So it's 2 different ways that you can do it. It all depends on who is the audience you're going after. And you always want to ask a question because that triggers a conversation.
Yeah, I think that's really smart. And I hope everybody who's listening or watching this right now heard the things that Julbert was saying, because I think that, listen, once again, cold calling, it's a numbers game, right? But I think there's a right way of doing it, and there's a right way to build some quick bond and rapport with somebody. And because, listen, at the end of the day, it's all about getting that first meeting, right? Establish some trust, establish some credibility, get that first meeting so you have the opportunity to talk to them and provide them or show them the solution that you have for whatever their challenges. And I mean, that's just how I am. And I know that there's also like, hey, if I send out 10,000 DMs in 2 weeks,
Well,
like I'm bound to get like, okay, maybe 10% will then take me up on my free offer, and then okay, 2% will convert, like whatever.
So I'm glad you said that because I want to add something else here, right? LinkedIn has recently put some restriction on how many connection invitation message you can send out a week, right? So you can't do like 10,000 right away. Maybe you could do 100 a week.
Right.
So a suggestion that might work well for some people is why don't you provide something of value, run a targeted LinkedIn ad. The person that download that piece of document that you provide that's valuable, now you have their name, their email, their phone number, and their LinkedIn profile URL. Now you can follow up via email, you can send them a message via text, or you can DM them on LinkedIn and say, hey, thanks for downloading our guide. We're providing XYZ. What are some questions you have that we can help you with? Right? So now you're combining LinkedIn ads and organic to help you reach your goals. Because once you start having people that are interested, and you can even ask a question in the lead form,
Right.
you know what phase that they're in the process, or they're looking right now, they're just curious. And by knowing that information, that allows you to make a better decision in your outreach.
Yeah, I think that's really smart. And that to me makes more sense as far as if you're going to make an investment, because listen, whether you're investing your time into it or whatever, you're still making an investment. And so, and a lot of times, like if you're going into LinkedIn advertising, you're the value of your sale is definitely a little bit more than a simple, like,
Absolutely.
buy this thing for $10 or $15 or whatever it is. So your sales may be a little bit more complex. There's more layers you need to present, like you're putting together proposals, all that. And I think that for me, it just seems like the smarter play, because I would rather quality versus the quantity. And I know not everybody sees it that way. And I think everybody's business is different. I mean, for me in my business, it's definitely a quality versus quantity type thing, because I'm in a mentorship business.
Yeah.
I'm working with people one on one, and it's very, very relationship and trust driven and results orientated from whatever their thing is. So I I'm not sort of like, hey, let me send this out to 100 people in a week. Like, that's not really my thing. I would much rather do a much more targeted approach and have them then, download something that's of value to them, like a book, an ebook, or
Yeah.
even a fun thing like a quiz, which are two things that I have. But at least it's something a little bit more of value to somebody than just like a phone call. Hey, click here, click my Calendly to set up a phone call. That's like the consistency of your DM. You're like, well, what is it not for me?
Why am I setting up this call again?
Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
But I love it. I mean, this is such great advice, because and LinkedIn, listen, as we all know, anybody who's active on LinkedIn knows how much the platform has been changing and adapting and trying to keep up. I mean, even right now, we're streaming this live on LinkedIn. LinkedIn Live's been, I feel, for me, a great tool to connect. It's been a great way for me to provide content. It's how I started this show to begin with, which was doing LinkedIn videos and uploading them directly and then getting approved for
Nice.
LinkedIn Live was great. And I feel that's great. I mean, we've seen some features come and go. We saw the stories function
Oh yeah.
come and
I
go,
mean, and
which,
they got new features coming out, like the
well,
LinkedIn audio.
LinkedIn
You
Audio, I
know.
was just going to ask you about that. And as of the time we're recording this, it's seems to be rolling out to not everybody. It's sort of in a
Yeah.
beta phase. But I've sat in on a couple ones that I've been invited in. And so real quick, like, what is your take on it? Or have you had, let me ask, have you had a LinkedIn Audio experience yet? Or
Not
do you
not
have
yet.
it? Okay.
I don't have it yet. I'm not part of beta testing, but I'm excited about it because I think it's another way to communicate on LinkedIn, right? Because we
Hmm.
all saw the Clubhouse boom over the
Yeah.
pandemic period. So all my colleagues and peers that has it, I'm super excited for what's
Right.
possible and what they can do with it. And once it's out with to the world,
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to be using it as a
Me too.
way to think about it. While I'm doing a presentation on LinkedIn, I can be on LinkedIn audio at the same time.
Yep.
So people that can't attend that presentation live can listen to the audio while they're on the go, right? So it's
Hmm.
kind of like a mini podcasting.
Yeah, which I'm hoping if they can find a way to integrate like what we're doing right now. Like, we're doing
Yeah.
a live stream. It will be turned into an audio podcast, but it'd be cool to say, hey, we're doing this simultaneously with LinkedIn audio, and or we can also do this and say, hey, join us afterwards for
Mm-hmm.
a Q&A
Yeah.
on LinkedIn
On
audio.
LinkedIn audio. There you go.
And I think
Right?
that would be, I think there's a lot of great potential with that. And that is
Definitely.
exciting to me, because I feel like social audio, if that's what is being branded now, social
That's the new
audio.
thing.
But I feel like it's a great forum. Like, I've been involved in Twitter Spaces, Clubhouse, which
Hmm.
everybody's heard me talk about, and a lot of the guests I've had, I've found being on Clubhouse, and I like it. I think it's cool, and I think it only makes sense for a platform like LinkedIn to take it to the next level, because you do think about all the different thought leadership things that you could
Oh
do, and how
yeah.
many people are like using from LinkedIn, bouncing the Clubhouse, and then back to LinkedIn.
Yeah.
It's like, so
Now
I look forward to it.
I think it would even go further because if it goes well in terms of development, think about that CEO that may be
Yeah,
working at a Fortune 500 company who's been almost impossible to put content on LinkedIn. Now they might just turn on LinkedIn audio while they're in having a conversation with a peer, and we can listen into that conversation. That
which would be
there
nice.
is magical because you can learn so many nuggets, not
Yeah.
just that Fortune 500 company, but any of your peers that's having conversation where now it'd be, it's easier and more accessible to tap into that. So I'm excited about it. I can't wait to see how it turns out and how we can even leverage it in LinkedIn advertising. So,
Yeah, exactly, which would be
you
great,
know,
Can you imagine running like ads on
LinkedIn
that.
audio ads, yeah.
Or actually, I mean, from an event standpoint, though, I mean, you actually make a great point. So, what if we were doing a LinkedIn audio event or a
Yeah,
summit on LinkedIn audio? And, I mean, you could charge admission for that because I'm sure there'll be a ticketed
absolutely.
feature, a monetization
Oh
feature at
yeah,
some point. Um, but even not, it's like kind of like if you're running LinkedIn ads to drive people to a webinar, like,
yeah. And
why
then
not
there's an
drive them to
audio
that?
component to the webinar. It's so many possibilities. It's a great marketing tool, but also a good recruiting tool, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
imagine a team, right? They're having their stand-up meeting once a week, and they turn on LinkedIn audio, and now that's being used as a way to recruit, as a
Hmm.
recruiting marketing approach for new potential talent, because they could kind of hear the overall culture in the organization by LinkedIn audio. So it's a lot of different, you just got to be creative with it.
No, you do, and I fully, I love the potential, and I love the flexibility, and yes, that you got to be creative with it, and for everybody out there, like for all the people I always have on here as guests, and Julbert in particular, it's always about like, hey, try new things, don't be afraid, it's okay,
Hmm.
it doesn't last forever,
Yeah,
whether it's your content or try doing LinkedIn ads. You don't have to go and do a massive spend right away. I mean, it's marketing, so you do want to A/B, and you want to A/B test,
absolutely.
test, test. Like that's definitely the thing that you should absolutely be doing. And I think that LinkedIn ads are definitely an effective way to get your message out there. And once again, this depends on your industry, depends on your company. The people you want to be targeting may not be on LinkedIn. That may not be where your audience is, and that's
Yeah,
totally fine. But I think for those of us that a lot of our audience, our targets are on LinkedIn, it makes complete sense.
definitely, definitely. I would say to anyone who listened to this and said, "Oh my God, I need to jump and do some LinkedIn ads," um, start with a plan first, right? And have some form of strategy. I give you guys some good nuggets on what you can do, but really sit down with your team and plan it out so that it makes sense.
Hmm.
And if you need help with that, you definitely can reach out to me and I'll share, what you can do. But start with that plan. Really identify your target audience. Number two, figure out what's going to be the offer, right? And how's that offer benefit them? So is it an attractive offer that they want to learn more? And then once you figure that part out, what's going to be the ad platform, the ads tool that you're going to be using, right? Is it going to be a lead gen ad? It's going to be awareness ad. What does that look like? Really map this thing out so that you have success with it. And yeah, you're going to do a lot of testing. You're going to be doing some A/B testing. You may start with a small budget, maybe $1,500, maybe 2,000, and then see how that turns out. See what works and what doesn't work. And don't get too attached. If it doesn't work, turn it off. Test something else. Don't just put one piece of ad, and if that don't work, you're like, okay, LinkedIn ad doesn't work. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And like everything you just said is spot on. I mean, it always has to start with a goal, right? What is it that you want to happen by
Yeah.
doing this? And just keep it simple. Keep it simple. Don't
Yes.
overcomplicate it. Keep it simple. As Gilbert said, have a plan in place. What is it that you want to do with people, like the people you're targeting? Like, what is it that you want to do? What's the goal? What's the plan? um this has been great. But before we leave, because I know you got to
Hmm.
go, you wrote a book. You
Yes.
got a book out, and
Yes.
I think
Yes.
it's awesome because I've been wanting to do a book forever. Everybody's heard me talk about it. I still haven't done it yet, but you wrote it, you did it. So talk about the book real quick before we
Absolutely.
jet out of here.
So, thanks again for that opportunity. So, I have a book called Seven Steps to Seven Figures using LinkedIn. And literally, it's a roadmap on different companies that we work with that we've helped generate over seven figures on LinkedIn. And what did they do, right? So, we break that down step by step. You can literally read the book and you have a blueprint on what to do. So if that's something you're interested in, seven step to seven figures .com, using LinkedIn.com, I'll put the link in the show note, and then people can go in there and take advantage of it. It comes with an audio book, so if you're like, oh, I don't like to read, well, guess what? You can listen to it.
Yeah.
um, so that's a good opportunity. And then, if you want more, we also have an online course that's available on the back end where we teach you LinkedIn ads. So you can take advantage of that as well.
Yeah, and here it is. I got it up. I was looking for it. I knew I had it
Awesome.
somewhere. So here it is. Yes. So yeah, so definitely head over to 7 steps to 7 figures using linkedin.com.
Yeah,
And here you can get the book, you can see some great testimonials, the whole shebang.
that's it. So definitely take advantage, guys. Check it out. Let me know if you have questions. Chris, this was awesome. I really appreciate you and all your entrepreneurs that listen to this. Thanks again for having me, guys.
Yeah, I'm really happy that we can make this happen, and I appreciate you coming on today. And for anybody that's looking to connect with Julbert, I absolutely encourage you. All the information is in the show notes. If you're on LinkedIn, he's really easy. Find him on LinkedIn. Like I said, it's all there. It's all connected. Check out his book. Check out AGM Global. Which what's why don't you say the website? What is how do you say?
AbrahamGlobal.com.
There you go. AbrahamGlobal.com. Once again, all those links are in the show notes. I appreciate each and every one of you for watching and listening today. Wherever you're listening, please make sure you follow or hit that subscribe button or wherever it is. That way you get notified every time we drop new episodes, every time we go live, wherever you're watching podcasts, wherever you're listening to podcasts, whatever. Just do it. So that way you can stay up to date on everybody I have on here. If you'd like to connect with me directly, you can actually do that really simple by using your cell phone by texting the words "Let's Rock." No spaces at all,
Ooh.
just "Let's Rock," one word, to 88500, and you'll get access to all of my contact information. You can save it on your phone. You can send me your info, but you also get links to my ebook, which you can download, which is a personal branding checklist. Also, find out what your personal brand type is, quiz, and all kinds of other fun, exciting stuff. Links to my other projects, and so on and so forth. So text the words "Let's Rock" to 88500, one word. And once again, want to thank my sponsor, Kerry Zarb of kerryzarb.com. If you are into getting your podcast noticed and want to learn more about marketing your podcast, head over to kerryzarb.com/simple. And with that, I will say goodbye to everybody. Thank you all so much. Julbert, any final words, my friend?
Thank you guys for having me. Make sure you have a plan to succeed. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I think that's the
Something like that. It sounded smart.
There you go.
No, it was great. Thank you guys so much. Have an awesome night. And remember, always be authentic, always be yourself, and always remember to rock it. Yeah.